Hi guys, welcome back. So today's video is going to be a lot more different than my other videos. I'm actually going to talk to you guys. I know all my videos are voiceovers and I think that's a little bit impersonal, but I just want to let you guys know that I like to talk. It's just that I feel like I wander off. My eyes just are all over the place except the camera, so I feel like I suck at it. You know what I mean? So, and I wanted to share this story because I was thinking about it the other day and I was like, that would be a good story to share. And every time I talk about my worst job experiences, this was the first one that comes to mind. So today's video is going to be about my worst job experience. Every time I think about a really bad work experience that I've had, this is the first thing that comes to mind because it was kind of like, it was not fun. I was scarred for a while. Like, I did not want to work in retail anymore after that. It sucked, you know what I mean? And there's other times that you have like a worky, like you have like a sucky work day, but this day like topped it off. I just couldn't believe that was happening to me. So let me just go ahead and start from the beginning. I started my first job when I was 18 years old. I was still in high school, and after school I would go and work. And my first job was at the Angel Stadium. So I loved working there. The people, after that, I needed something a little bit more steady because I was going to school. And you know, the Angel Stadium, it's only like a seasonal job. So therefore I couldn't I wasn't a year-round job. Of course, only seasonal, so I had to find another job. My sister-in-law, actually, she used to work at a store at the mall, and she was like, you know what, I think they need a helper at another store. Do you want to go apply? And I was like, yeah, because she happened to be really good friends with that manager that worked at the other store. So I was like, yeah, you know, so I went and I got hired. I liked working there. It was fun. It was like a junior clothing store. And then there were two other assistant managers. And the other assistant managers pretty much did everything. So when I went there, it was my first day. I went in and the assistant manager was telling me all the rules of the store. And she was telling me, you know, you have to look in this binder every day just in case if we do have meetings, you know when the meetings are, so you can show up an hour earlier, you know, for the meetings and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And she was telling me everything I'm supposed to do. It was fine. And then the day after, my second day to work, I came into the store and she was like, oh, I wrote you up. And I was like, what? Why did you write me up? And she was like, because we had a meeting this morning. I was like, I didn't know we had a meeting this morning. She's like, yeah, that's why you were supposed to look in the binder. And I was like, it's my second day of work. Give me a break. And she was like, well, now you know next time. But I had to write you up. And I was like, whatever. So after a while that I've been working there, one of the assistant managers decided to quit. So she quit and they needed two assistant managers there at that store. So the main manager promoted me to be an assistant manager. So I was like, yeah, you know, of course I'll be a manager. I was excited. My main manager, she quit. So she got like a job offer at another store. It was for like a men's clothing store. So she went to go work at that store. So after that, she quit. And, you know, we were still really cool and everything. So it was just me and the other assistant manager. So it was just two assistant managers. There was no main manager for the store. So after that, it was just us for a little bit. And then after a while, the other assistant manager decided to quit, so it was just me, the assistant manager, in charge of the entire store. So when corporate found out that it was just going to be me, they would send other managers from other stores to come to my store and work at the store. And then after a while, the other managers that would come from another store, they got tired of going to my store, so they just didn't come anymore. So I was pretty much in charge of the whole entire store by myself, which I didn't mind. I felt like I had everything under control. So I was in charge of the store for a great while, and there was times where I had to work a lot, and I had to hire girls, and you know, because I needed help. And it was just pretty much me, and I had to train the other girl that, you know, that was a regular sales girl, and I had to train her to become my other assistant manager because I couldn't do it by myself. I couldn't open and close, you know, every day. It was just crazy. So after that, it just started Oh, and then after that, we found out that the store was going to close. We weren't getting any more shipments and stuff like that. So, you know, it started going downhill. So after that, I would end up getting out of there maybe like 11:30. I hated the schedule. So anyway, so then that's when the other manager called me and asked me like, hey, do you want to come and work over here? And I was like, yeah. She's like, the latest you'll get out of here is 7:30. And I was like, yeah, definitely. She's like, okay, well, I'll set up an interview. And I got hired. And on that store, it was the same thing. It was one main manager and two assistant managers. So I was the second assistant manager. So I went to go work over there, and it was fun. It was the three of us, and then I think one sales person. So it was just four of us at one store, and it was at a men's clothing store. And let me tell you, the men's clothing store is a lot different than working at a junior store, because I feel like guys can be real jerks. There was this one incident that happened to me. There's a few incidents that happened to me, but the two that stand out the most are, one time I was working there. It was me by myself. I had opened that day, and that day the district manager happens to come into the store to have inventory. And she was actually in the back of the store in our storage room where we keep like all the extra clothes. She was back there like doing her thing. And when she was out there doing her thing, I was on the floor by myself. So I couldn't do anything because I couldn't leave the store by itself, especially with the district manager, you know, out there. If she sees me go to the restroom, she's gonna be like, well, who's out there on the floor? I just had to stay at the floor. So in our bathrooms, they were only for us. They were only for employees. They were not for customers or nothing. I had a sign that said bathroom out of service, because guys would just go in the back room and just use it. And I'm like, dude, like, you can't just walk in the back of the store and use a restroom, you know? This particular day, I was not going to let anyone go back there. I mean, my district manager was back there. So that day, I happened to get this jerk come into the store, and he comes in and he's like, can I use your restroom? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, the bathroom's out of service. And then he's all like, no, it's not. And I'm like, yes, it is. And then he's all like, well, I really need to go. And I'm like, well, it's not working, sir. And then he's like, we'll see. He goes back there. He goes through that door. He goes through that back door. He opens it. My district manager's in there. He goes in there. He goes to the bathroom. He pees all over the damn place. He comes back out. And then when he comes out, my district manager comes to me. She's like, and I'm like, and she's all like, what is he doing back there? And I'm like, he didn't listen to me. I told him he couldn't use the restroom, and he didn't believe me, because I told him that it was out of service, and he goes in there anyway. And then she's like, well, don't tell him it's out of service if it's working. And I'm like, that's the only way I can try to keep him out of there. So I get yelled at by this stupid district manager that can care less about her employees. And then as soon as the guy comes out and he realizes the bathroom does work, he starts cussing me out. And there was like 4 other customers in the store. He starts calling me, you fucking babe. And then he was just telling me like, you lied to me, you are a liar, you blah, 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 you're this, you're that. And I'm just like, oh my God. Beep, beep, beep. Like, he told me every bad word in the bad word dictionary. He cussed me out. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't say anything. This district manager just fucking stood there and just saw him cuss me out. I'm here, and he's this big guy. And I'm here like, you know, it was just one of those times where I wish I could go back in time and tell him how it is. Because that was not okay. And then finally, after he cussed me out for like 3 minutes, finally, the district manager was like, if you don't leave, we're going to call the police. I'm like, you bitch. Like, why couldn't you just say that in the first 3 seconds that bad words came out of his mouth to cuss me out? You know, why couldn't you just say that 20 minutes ago? And I was just so upset. I was shaking. It was the worst experience ever. I could not wait to go home. I almost started crying. I could not wait to get home. And finally I get home, I tell my parents what happened, and they were just like, what? I was just like, man, I can't believe that just happened to me. And I was able to finally like get over it. I didn't want to go back to work. I was just so down. Like, I almost got a little traumatized from that. And after that, I was like, man, I'm never gonna let anyone talk to me like that, you know? Like, I get the whole, like, the customer's always right. I get that. But you just don't know how it is until you work at retail. There's just people that just do that on purpose. Like, that's just what they live for, just to be jerks to people that are, you know, are in customer service. And because of that experience, I never want to work in retail ever again. Maybe, like, if I went to go work at a cool store, maybe yes. But, like, there's only so much I can take. And I needed to work, obviously. I mean, I had a car payment and a phone payment and school. So I kind of had to have a job, or else I would have just been like, you know what? Forget this. I'm out of here. So then our main manager that worked there with us, she ended up getting fired. Then it ended up being me and my assistant manager again. So it was just me and her, and we were really close with each other. I love her so much. And so it's just me and her. And then so after that, corporate they sent a manager to our store, a main manager. And he was probably like in his late 20s, maybe early 30s or whatever. And he was like, he had presence. I mean, he was a 6'4" guy, and me and my other assistant manager, she was like 5 feet and I was like I'm 5'2". We were like so tiny. And then our main manager is like this huge guy. So anyway, so he comes and works at the store. Right away, he is like the boss, right? Like, he comes into the store, he's the boss, he's telling us what to do, and then we're just like, okay, whatever, we'll do it, whatever. After a while, he started to get very like, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, I want you to do it here, I want you to do that, blah, 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 blah. And then we're just like, whoa, dude, like, slow your horses down. I mean, I'm okay with being told what to do, but damn, like, if you say like very like rude, I just don't like that. Oh, and then he had a crazy girlfriend too. Like, she would call the store and check up on him, and when I would answer, I would be like, blah blah blah, and then she'll be like, let's call him Ralph. She'll be like, is Ralph there? Like, relax. Yes, he's right here. Hold on. So after that, she would call a couple times, and then she showed up to the store, surprising him. She showed up to the store. She walks into the store, and I'm like, hi, welcome, and blah, blah, blah. And she would be like, where's Ralph? And I'm like, he was in the back. Let me go get him for you. And I didn't know, she was a girlfriend. But after that, I was like, oh, great. Here she comes. And she would just look at us, me and the other assistant manager, like, dude, relax. Like, we don't want nothing to do with your damn boyfriend. Like, calm down. Like, he's okay. Stop being so insecure about yourself. Trust your boyfriend and working and being the star of the manager. Don't come here and attack us, okay? So that was kind of crazy. So anyway, so that manager just started getting a little bit more aggressive, right? And one day, we used to work like, all of our windows were like, glass, obviously. And towards the end of the day, the sun would come into the store and it would go into the store. Like, so the whole front of the store would get sun, and it would be hot up there. I would just, when those days would happen, I would just like fold t-shirts or pants or whatever towards the back where it wasn't hot. And then we had like this cart. They had like the little dials for the size. It had hangers. It had the board to fold the t-shirts all the same size, and it had like a board area to fold clothes and everything. So, and one time I just took a pile of t-shirts and I put them on my cart so that I can fold them. And my manager was like, I want you to fold them in the front of the store. And I was like, no way. Like, dude, it's blazing over there. It's hot. And then he's like, I want you to go fold them over there. I was like, I'm not going to go fold them over there. I'm like, I'm fine here. I was literally where he wanted me to be, but like 10 feet back. 10 feet, more back, because obviously there's sun in the whole front of the store. And I was like, no, I think I'm just going to stay here. And he's like, go fold them in the front of the store. And I was like,
go over there and follow them in front of the store. It's hot. It's blazing over there. I'm not gonna go.
And then he's all like, okay. So what does he do? He gets my cart, he pushes it to the front of the store, he comes back, he carries me into where he positioned the cart. He carries me over there. I feel like a child. He literally put his hands under my arms and carried me over there. Like I'm like 5. And I'm like, when he put me down, I was like, what just happened? What did he just do? So after that, I was like, I can't believe that I just let that happen. And I told my husband this story and he was so angry. And this time was around the holidays. We were so busy. We were getting a lot of shipment in. It was around Thanksgiving time. It was like in November. And not only, he didn't just like do those things. He was just like really rude. And we were going to have the Black Friday sale. And he told me that day he made me close. He made me work long hours. And I'm not trying to justify what I did, but he was a jerk. And I was not going to let his mistreatment towards me just go. So that day, the day before Black Friday, it was Thanksgiving, and then it was going to be Black Friday. So I worked, no, that Wednesday, it was Wednesday, the last day that I worked that I closed. And it was going to be Thursday, Thanksgiving, and then Black Friday. So I worked that Wednesday, and he made me work all the entire day. And, which is fine, I don't care, I didn't mind. But he calls me, and he's yelling at me, and I'm like, why are you yelling at me? He's like,
I want you to put the signs for, Black Friday. I want you to put all the signs on that Wednesday so that, people know that we're having a sale.
And they were like these huge signs. I mean, those signs that go from like the top of the window all the way to the bottom, to like, so that people can see it, outside the window. And there was these huge signs. There was signs on top of every rack, and it was just so much work. And I was actually had a sales associate that was working that day with me, and he was really cool. And so when he calls me and yells at me, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, blah, 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 blah. And I was still holding a grudge from that day that he picked me up. And I feel so bad, and I feel guilty that I'm sharing this. But whatever, this is what makes the story kind of cool. I'm so bad. Anyways, so that day comes, it's Wednesday, closing day. I need to get everything prepared for Black Friday sale, right? Well, that Wednesday, I was still pissed because of the way he's been mistreating me. Oh, and on top of that, I had already gotten another job. And I gave him a 2-week notice. I told him, hey, I'm giving my 2-week notice because I found another job. And he's like, what kind of job is it? And I'm like, it's just an office job. He's all like, I was like, it's a lot better than working here with you. And that Wednesday was actually my last day. I remember that Wednesday was my last day because I was not going to work on that Black Friday. Heck no, I was not going to work that Black Friday. So then that's why he was telling me everything. He was just taking advantage of my last day because it was going to be my last day. So he was just pushing and putting everything on me because it was going to be my last day. That day, I was supposed to put up signs, put everything away, have the store nice and neat for that Black Friday so that I can get trashed all over again. So that night, I told my other sales associate, and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything. And then he's like,
what do you mean you're not doing anything?
I'm like, nope, I'm not doing anything. And you know what? You can blame everything on me. You can tell him that I kicked you out of the store and that I wanted to leave the store like this. So I'm not going to put signs. I'm not going to clean the store. I'm not going to change the signs on the rack. I'm not going to clean the fitting rooms. I'm not going to do anything. I can't do this anymore. I'm done with him. I'm done with the store. I'm done with everything that has to do with the store. And he's like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, damn right I am. I just closed out the registers. I counted the money. I made sure everything was correct. Other than that, I left everything as is. I left everything, and it was a mess. And you know what? I didn't care because you don't treat anyone like that, especially if you don't give them a reason to treat you that way. I did what I made me feel good. probably not the best way to do it. And I don't encourage anyone to do this or do any kind of action that I did, but I did it because I had enough. And like I said, I'm not trying to justify my actions by any means, but hey, I had to feel good leaving there, okay? Because he was just treating me like crap. So anyways, we close the doors, we close the store, everything's a mess, no signs are up, nothing. And then I was so nervous. Oh, that Black Friday, I get a phone call. And he's all like, you left the store a mess, you didn't do anything, and blah, 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 and this and that, you know, you're going to hell. And I'm like, whoa. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then I hung up on him. And then that was the end of that. And that was it. And I felt good. And then after that, I never worked at retail ever again. After that, I just had like, you know, like office jobs and stuff like that. And yeah, that was my story. I don't know if it was a good story or not, and I regret that I didn't say anything. But whatever, I was young and I was shy. And anyway, so that's what happened. And yeah, so if you guys ever have like a bad experience at work, like, you know, just put a stop right away to it. Don't wait for it to get worse or anything like that. So anyways, that's the end of my story. I hope I didn't sound too bitchy or anything like that. I swear I'm not like that. I'm a very nice person. Can you guys believe me after I did this? But hey, I was being nice, I was being responsible, and he did not appreciate the thing that I did, so I had to do what I had to do. Okay?
Don't hate me, please.
So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys back on my next video. Bye!
Mommy, get out his eyes, because her arm hurt.
I already feel like this is just